I always have a deep breath when it's like going into that recording mode. And if you've watched any of the other interviews, you'll know that this is not like all smart, all singing, all dancing interview series, because I believe in action rather than perfection. So today we have the lovely Polly, and we are, as always, going to be talking about how you can build your beautiful business without burning out. And we're going to be sharing our sort of top tips and our thoughts. And Polly is one of the amazing speakers at the Sparkle and Thrive Summit. I will be just going over to my notes. Again, I'm always rough and ready. So Polly is a nature-inspired business design mentor who shows entrepreneurs the powerful energy they hold and how to turn it into something life-changing, and shows them how to move beyond their labels and embrace all of who they have become to design and create a business that delivers their vision. And in the summit, she's going to be doing a talk on You Are Not Broken, where we will talk about navigating the doubts of entrepreneurship and developing resilience to move forward on your chosen path. I mean, like all of them, to be fair, which I have said for all of them, it's going to be fantastic. So, Polly, can you share a little bit about your business journey and how you got to where you got to?
I'll try and keep it short. So I started my business 10 and a half years ago. I'd come from a background in charities. I'd done a bit of project work. I'd done a bit of operational management. I'd done some marketing. I then flipped completely and ran a homelessness service. I'd done loads of different things, and I had gone all over the place. So when I started my business, I thought, I'm going to be a marketing consultant because I love marketing. And I love the freedom that comes with it. So I started out as a consultant. About 2 years in, I just went, this isn't right. And the light switch went on, and I just went, I'm not a consultant. I don't want to work for someone else. I want to work with someone else. So I moved into mentoring. And I was still focusing on marketing, but I was developing as a person, and I had these backgrounds that I wanted to weave into my work, and it was like, it just all felt like a massive plate of spaghetti. It didn't feel like it made sense. So then I started to discover sort of more energy-based approaches. I got to that through mindset work, and then it's just everything started to ravel up again, if you like, at that point. And then at some point or another, I sort of started to bring nature into there, and I became this mentor who just did so many different things, and it took a long time for me to come up with a way of trying to describe that. But I know you do business design as well, but it's like business design is like a nice, neat way of saying I look at the whole thing. I don't just look at one bit of it. I'm not doing this and I'm not just doing that. I'm not going to talk to you about how to build your visibility strategy just on its own without considering the fact that your business is a whole thing. So I've started to build in the things that we can learn from nature into our businesses so that they can feel more natural, so that they're easier to hold and they're not so overwhelming, because the thinking and the societal conditioning around business is it's so pressurized and so intense, and you're supposed to be in this full-on productivity mode all the time, and you never switch off. And that's when you never ever switch off. So even when you're asleep, you're still thinking about your business, which is not healthy. So I started to turn to nature to look at how does nature create stuff? How does nature create really thriving environments? And what can we learn from that in a business context? So I've gone from very conventional to very unconventional, but I am much happier in the unconventional.
Which I love it. I mean, as you know, yeah, it's that whole, so I call myself a business designer as well. And I do it through a slightly different lens. And that to me is the beauty of what we're pulling together and having that thing. I always say you can have 10 nutritionists in the room and they'll all be different and have a different energy and a different approach. And we can weave these things in. And exactly like you, come from the ball of spaghetti. And I can completely resonate. And I'm sure there's a lot of those watching that will also resonate with that. And I love the nature led, because I always say, I think, you know, we've got to work with our energy and the seasons and things. And I don't necessarily, that's not my area of expertise, but by the same token, it's something that then, you know, we can pass on and understand, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone who's feeling overwhelmed by the demands of growing their business?
Oh, Lord. Where would I start with that? The first thing is to say that you need to know who you are and how you work best. So if you're aware of your strengths, if you're aware of your style of learning, your style of doing, your style of creativity, if you spend a bit of time getting used to that, then you're going to know when somebody says, the only way to do this is to go and do these 5 steps, and you go, well, I don't like steps 1, 3, and 4. That's not really me. Then you have choice. When you listen, the thing about being an entrepreneur is when you start out, and it doesn't matter how many years you've got under your belt in business, in other, you know, as an employee, when you start out, this is a very personal thing, and you have to be everybody to everybody. You've got to do all the roles, and you've got to be the face and the machinery behind the scenes. So you're going to come up against your skill blocks or your skill thresholds, and you're going to come up against your self-belief thresholds. So the inevitable thing in business is that you start to doubt yourself. You really start to go, oh, I'm not cut out for this. And there's a lot of messaging that you will come across that tells you that you aren't cut out for it, and you need to work on this, and you need to fix that, or whatever it is. So my advice to people is to know yourself, know your strengths, know the way that you like to work, and then you can start to develop discernment in what you do listen to and what you don't listen to. And then the other bit of advice I would say is that we overestimate what we can do in a day. We can underestimate what we can do in the long term. So always give yourself small steps, because if you achieve them, you'll feel really good about them. So don't give yourself a to-do list that is as long as your arm, because you will never get through it. And something else will get on there, and something else will get pushed down, and then you will always feel overwhelmed. So know who you are, know how you like to work, and keep it in bite-sized chunks, because business is actually simple. We just overcomplicate it.
Yeah, I totally hear we do overcomplicate it. And I think some of that comes from the fact that there is the noise and there is the do it my way approach. And one of the things I wanted to do in this summit was to take that do it your way out, and to make it, to show that once I like the word discernment, great word. Once we can practice that, it makes a huge difference, doesn't it? So what tools, techniques or habits have been most effective for you in managing your time and energy?
Well, for me, that looks like making sure I take a walk every day. It means making sure I meditate every day. It means making sure that I do plan and make a list of things that I need to keep on top of, so that I don't suddenly remember. Because frankly, at my age, my memory, the hormones are playing havoc with my memory. So if I don't make lists, I'm stuffed. So those 3 things, that's what it looks like for me. What I always advise people is to make sure you have some downtime in your business. And the reason for having downtime in your business is because when you aren't focusing on something, then your creative solutions come up and they ambush you when you're in the shower, or you're taking the kids to school, or you're walking the dog, or whatever. And at any time that you're not doing something on your business, your brain has space to start to work it out and problem solve. So for me, having that downtime and giving myself permission to have that downtime. So whereas somebody might look at you and say, well, you're not doing anything. And it's like, just because I'm sitting there cross-legged with my eyes shut does not mean I'm not doing anything. It means that I'm actually working through something. And that's a massive shift in your mindset. So if you can say that actually walking the dog is part of your work day, then you will give yourself time to move through stuff. And so those insurmountable problems, those huge hurdles that you see in your way that feel very overwhelming and you don't know how to get past them and they're stressing you out, You'll work it out if you step away from things.
Yeah, I've had quite a lot of conversations recently about what constitutes work, and I think we have that picture of work as doing, don't we? And I think I completely agree with you. We need to sort of so I'm in an in-person networking group, and I think we can think that networking, although it's got work in it, isn't work, because it's socializing and it's talking and it's about business. But that in of itself can be that space to speak to others to help your business, or for, you know, and all of that. And I've always, since my daughter was going to childcare, made sure I walked to pick her up, even though that's 20 minutes in my what has always been quite a short day. I walk to pick her up because I know that that gives me the space. So how do you decide what to say no to, and where to focus the efforts in your business?
Ultimately, that comes down to, does it feel good? It's as simple as that. Because before I started my business, and I'd been made redundant and I was looking for jobs, and my husband said, "Oh, look, this is an opportunity you need to go for," and he kind of cornered me on it, and every part of me was going, don't. But I went for it anyway, and it was the most awful experience. And it really solidified for me is that if it doesn't feel good, just don't do it. Because you've got to be excited about something to put your energy into it, and you're not going to get anywhere with something unless your energy is in it. So, you know, we just need to really listen to who we are. I've frozen at my end. Can you still hear me? Oh, no, I can't hear you now. Is it going to catch up on me?
Yeah, I think there we go. Can you hear me now?
Could you hear me, or did I just freeze?
You froze.
Okay.
I'm not editing, so
no. So what I was just saying is that you. Oh, please don't. I'm going to freeze again. What I was saying is that it has to feel good for your energy to be in it, and if you want to get somewhere with it, your energy has got to be in it. So just. It comes back to this downtime, because you need a little bit of space to be able to listen to the cues, because we often silence that thing, you know, that like that knot in the stomach, or that sort of like slight shortness of breath, or whatever it is that is telling us don't do it. We don't hear it because we're too busy. So it does come back to the downtime, but it's just like, does it feel good? Am I excited about it? That's as simple as that.
Excellent. So what's one small but powerful step that someone can take today to start building a more sustainable business?
Ooh, one small step. Go on, I'll just say it. Get up from your desk.
Love it.
Yeah, your desk is not, yeah, especially if you've been an employee. You will be like, I sit at my desk, I get up from my desk. I'm sorry, my dog's going to start barking. And then, and that's me work. That's what it looks like to work. Get up from your desk, move around, move your body, because if your body gets tight and tense, you're not going to be very effective in work. I took up yoga every day 5 years ago because I was getting so tight. And it's made a huge difference. So just get up, move around.
Yeah, it's something I definitely do. And I used to do yoga pre-toddler, but I want to pick that back up again now. Yeah. So thank you so much, Polly. That has been brilliant, as have all the interviews that I have done, because I'm getting towards the end of this now, which is fantastic. And so when you're watching this, please do pop your key takeaways in the comments below. And obviously you'll be able to connect with Polly, because I will put her details as well. And I'd love to see you on the Sparkle and Thrive Summit. So have a lovely day, and we will see you soon.